So I'm going to give an overview of what the regional district's offering in their regional energy efficiency program. There are three kind of main options in terms of how you can join and what it can offer to you. So I'll go through each one. The first one is the Energy Conservation Assistance Program, / you can also get an energy savings kit, and that's offered in partnership with Fortis. You can get a subsidized home energy evaluation, and I'll explain what that is. And then you can also get support and advice on your home renovations. I hope that's what you're expecting. um, so I'll start with the Energy Conservation Assistance Program. I mentioned some partnership with Fortis, and there are some eligibility requirements in terms of this program. So it's open to homeowners and renters all across BC. This one isn't specific to this region. Your house can be a single detached, duplex, townhouse, or manufactured home, but not an apartment or condo. There's a slightly different option available for you if that's your situation. You have to be a Nelson Hydro, BC Hydro, or Fortis BC customer. If you're listening to this and thinking like, maybe my sister in Penticton could benefit from this, it's any municipal electricity provider that is offering this. And it is an income qualified program. So if you're wondering if you might be eligible for this, you can look at your household size. So you're looking at people who are over 18 years of age. So if your children, only if they're adults do they count towards your maximum household income. And so it's the combined income for the household. So if you had, say, a renter that was renting a room in the same space that you were occupying, they would be calculated into that. But if you had a separated suite, then they wouldn't. So that's kind of a little added factor to take into account in terms of deciding whether you might be eligible for this or not. So what do you get out of it? So you get basically a package of free energy saving products and a free installation from a qualified person. So you would get some LED light bulbs, kitchen and bathroom faucet aerators, water efficient shower heads, exterior door weather stripping, that's really great, a clothes drying rack or a clothesline, and a carbon monoxide alarm in homes with fuel burning appliances. So they come to you, they set up a time when you're available, and they'll come around and do this. They are still offering this during COVID. And they have a new set of protocols set up to try and ensure that you're not occupying the same 2-meter space, so they can be adequately distanced within your home. And then the added benefit of doing this, if you are qualified for it, is that some homes may qualify for an Energy Star certified refrigerator, some insulation, or a new high efficiency natural gas furnace, depending on your home and their evaluation of your home. So unfortunately, I can't tell you what they would say would qualify for it or not, because that's their own assessment, but it is definitely part of what makes it appealing, because we have had people go through our program who end up with a new furnace or a new refrigerator, which is really quite significant in terms of cost. So, and most likely they'll have to come back to do that. So I wouldn't expect in the first visit that they might just, after they do your light bulbs, roll out a refrigerator from the back of their truck. It's, yeah, but it's a great offer. And right now they're offering a little bonus on top to make it sweet. So if you register for the program before December 31st of this year, you get an extra $25 grocery gift card with your installation, which I think is quite kind of them. So if you were looking back at this and saying, well, what about me? I'm in an apartment or a condo. So if you meet all those same eligibility requirements, except that you live in an apartment or a condo, you can get a free energy savings kit. And this is also a great option for people who might qualify for ECAP, but don't feel comfortable having someone else come into their home due to their concerns over COVID-19, or might even just prefer to do it themselves. So in that energy savings kit, sorry, that's the next one. I just wanted to show this again, just in case people were like, oh, I didn't look at that quite close enough. This is kind of the breakdown of the household size and the income levels, and all of that is also available online through the RDCK's website, which I show you in a bit. So in the kit, you get similar but not exactly all the same things. You get an LED nightlight and 4 LED light bulbs, a water efficient shower head, kitchen and bathroom faucet aerators, weather stripping. So it might be nice for you if you were considering adding it to some windows or something that wouldn't have been included in the free installation. You'll have window film so that you can cover up any of those windows that you might have that aren't double glazed. Outlet and switch sealers, and a refrigerator freezer thermometer to make sure that it's at the right temperature, and a furnace filter coupon. So it's a pretty sweet kit to get. If you're eligible, I would highly recommend applying for either this or the free installation, depending on whichever you prefer. If you're not interested in that or not eligible, if you're not, we do offer other things. So the next one being a subsidized home energy evaluation. So the RDCK offers a subsidy that's available right now until the end of this year. And just so you know, I'm not saying it's just the registration. You don't actually have to have the evaluation in between now and the end of December, because I realize that's a pretty short period, but just the registration. And the evaluation will be completed by a qualified energy advisor who does a blower door test and a home inspection. I'll show you what a blower door test looks like. And then after the evaluation, you receive a full EnerGuide report and a rating for your home, along with the next steps to increase your home's efficiency. So it's quite a complete package. So this is what a blower door test looks like. Oops, sorry. So I just like that because it gives you kind of an idea of what it actually looks like to have a blower door test done in your home. And, you know, it is really a full and comprehensive process. And Len is the local assessor that we mostly use, and he's very knowledgeable. So, yeah, I highly recommend that. So this is what you would get as part of your package after you had your evaluation, is a full EnerGuide report. So it'll show you your home's energy rating by comparison to a typical new house of a comparative size and build. So, and it'll show you kind of like where you are and also where you could end up if you did the recommended changes that that the assessor felt like could increase your home's efficiency. Ideally, you're hoping to get lower on the energy scale. So if you're showing up after you get this closer on the red end, then there's obviously a little bit more work that you could do on your home. So we're trying to aim towards net zero. And it gives you a full breakdown of how you use energy. So it's really tiny font, so I'm sorry if you can't read it, but it shows on this, for example, the breakdown of how a home might use electricity versus natural gas, or oil burning furnace. You'll also see where the energy is being consumed in your home. So in Canada, the most common use of energy is in space heating. Usually second after that is water, hot water heating, and then smaller things around lights and appliances. Although it depends, I have seen some reports where especially the ventilation can be a big factor in terms of energy usage. And then you can see essentially what the estimated amount of um, GHG emissions would be from your home. So it's just like a really good snapshot of what's going on. Sometimes I see people coming through this program partially because they're looking at selling their homes. A lot of new buyers are more interested in finding out how the home rates so that they can kind of get an idea of down the road how many extra costs that they might have to put into it. So if you can demonstrate that you've had this done and that you've done some of the changes to your home, this can actually increase your home's value. So in terms of cost, that's funny. The formatting looks really different than what I thought that was going to look like. The cost breakdown is a little bit complex. That's why I just kind of included this graphic, but it's pretty simple once you go through it. So normally a pre-evaluation would cost $450. Right now, what the RDCK is offering through the subsidy is they automatically take $110 off of that. So if you were to sign up, you would pay the $340. As soon as you've had your evaluation, you would be contacted by me once you get your report and I give you a call and I'll walk you through the steps in terms of how you can apply for the $200 rebate that's offered through the province. So it nets out to be $140 that you're ending up spending, which is a pretty good deal considering that it normally costs $450. And it gets even better. So typically for most people, they're choosing to do some of the recommendations within the report. Once they've done as many of those changes as they are planning to do, you can call us up to do a post evaluation. So then you get to compare from the first report, where did you end up? Did it actually net out to be as impactful as you were hoping it to be? What is your new home's rating? So the RDCK chips in $175 into that. You as a homeowner, you pay $100, but you get a $100 rebate back. So it ends up being essentially free, except for a little bit of your time to go through the rebate process. But by that point, you should already be a pro because you already have to have done it once for the first evaluation and then for any of the changes that you've done that might be eligible. So it's a pretty good deal, and it's really quite generous of the RDCK to be giving $285 towards it, so you might as well benefit from it. So why would you do it? Obviously, I just told you about how you would save money, and just as a recap, this is only for the RDCK, so you must be a resident to benefit from it. You also get a lot of program assistance. So a big part of my job is helping people basically go through this in an easier fashion. So I can help them with the rebates. I can help them with by providing a list of contractors. We don't necessarily endorse anyone specifically, but it's just for your ease of use. So it's quite easy to call up a number of different people and get different quotes and be able to compare and make an informed decision. We do provide advice as well in terms of, which upgrades you might want to target doing first in what order. So for example, you would want to do any insulation or ceiling that you were going to plan to do before upgrading your home energy system, just because you might end up actually not needing quite as large of a system once you've done all that sealing. So just some little things like that that help to improve the process. And then we also offer low interest financing in partnership with the local credit unions, which is really nice. When they come to your home, so that's usually Len, he would provide you with some free energy savings products as a little bonus. So you get some LEDs, a water efficient shower head, and some faucet aerators. Once in a while I get people who are like, Yeah, water efficient shower head. Like I want to have a real shower, not just like a trickle. And I hear you. They're actually quite nice. I put in about 70 of them this past year with a seniors program, and I have quite a bit of hair. They're really great. So it is actually a high value proposition. Um, and then there also are some rebates to help you with the cost of doing the upgrade. So if you're thinking like, you know, I would really like to do some of this stuff to my home, but I'm not sure about having the money to do it. Between the low interest financing and the rebates, this is really a way that we can try and support you to be able to do some of these changes. And for a limited time, there are some of the rebates that are doubling, which is kind of unprecedented. So this is worth kind of, if you've been a little bit asleep, then this is worth listening to. Um, so if you're just interested in looking at the rebates yourself, you can do so at betterhomesbc.ca. So the doubling primarily is for upgrading heat systems, a heat pump, hot water heating, and tier 2 windows and doors. So that's like the most efficient on their scale. So how do you access it? Well, if you would go onto the Better Homes BC page, you can find the link on there, or you'll have my contact information in a couple more slides, and you can ask me, and I can give you the exact link. It's just quite long. I doubt you're going to be copying it all down. So there is a little bit of a timeline thing to be aware of, though. So you should register for a promo code if you are at all interested, because there's no negative consequences from applying and not using it. But you have to register for a promo code by the end of this year. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is you have to have a contractor come in and complete the work for you by the end of March next year. And then the third step is to apply for the rebates using the promo code. So that's kind of like the step-by-step process. So if you're thinking, yes, there's things that I want to do, yes, that timeline works for me. Particularly if you've ever considered putting in a heat pump, that's really where I see a lot of people are benefiting from this most significantly, because the rebates usually range between $2,000 and $4,000, which means now you're getting between $4,000 and $8,000, which is pretty cool. Yay! Everyone wants more free money, right? So what if you just wanted the rebates and you weren't really interested in doing the home energy assessment? That's totally okay. Mostly I would recommend this in the case that you already know what needs to be done in your home. If you're not sure what needs to be done, that's really where the home energy evaluation helps out, because it helps you to prioritize what will give you the best return on your investment, as well as what is causing the greatest energy consumption in your home, because those are linked, obviously. Only the bonuses are the ones that would really require a person to have done the home energy assessment. Why would you maybe want to do it then? Well, it might financially work out in your favor. So it depends kind of on how much work you're planning to do. If you're not planning to do the home energy assessment and you're thinking, okay, well, my hot water tank is 10 or so years old. Just a little note here that your insurance company won't cover it after it's 10 years old. So if it is getting to that age, it's a good thing to kind of keep in the back of your mind that you might want to just be aware of what you would like to replace it with, because most of the time, if you have an emergency replacement, you might not be able to get the highest efficiency one that you were planning to get, maybe if you had more time to look into it. So if you're planning to do that, you're thinking about your heating system and a significant amount of insulation, because they have thresholds for what counts as a major upgrade. Then you could apply for quite a large bonus. So it might end up paying itself off, because it's only $140 for the home energy assessment right now, and you'd have, as if you did the 3 upgrades, as a minimum a $750 bonus. Then it's something to look into anyways. And if you're not sure, of course, just let us know and we can help go through that process with you. But yeah, in either case, we encourage you to register whether you're going to do the home energy assessment or not, just because there is a lot of details to keep track of as you go through the process. And so I'll just let you know a little bit about what the help is available, and this might help to demonstrate for you why you might also want the help. is Unfortunately, it's not a straightforward process for a lot of people. So first of all, the rebates is you have to understand the eligibility. We recommend that people look at the sample invoices and provide that to their contractors so that the first invoice that they get back from them is the right one that will allow them to access the rebates. And then submitting the application through the online server if they have difficulty or if they have been denied, but they think that they shouldn't have been, then we can help them go through and try to get reassessed or an exception. In terms of timelines, there are quite a number of different timelines. So for example, if you're doing the home energy assessment, ideally you're doing all the work within an 18-month time frame. After each rebate, you have a 6-month time frame where you can apply for the rebate. So if you wait more than 6 months to group them together, you could actually miss out on getting some of those rebates. And that's like on top of the timelines that I was telling you about for the double the rebate offer. And then you want to also keep in mind if you're planning to do the bonus that it also has to be within the same 18-month period of when you're doing all those changes. So there's a lot of different things that are going on there. I can help recommend to you whether you might need a building permit, and I would say that that's a good thing to do if it's recommended to you, just because, again, it's a pretty low cost and it allows for a third person who is an expert in the field to give you their opinion and any issues that you might not anticipate. So for example, if you're putting in new insulation, but you haven't examined your vapor barrier, you might actually end up with greater condensation problems and then potentially mold and rot, which nobody wants to do that when they've just paid a whole bunch of money on an upgrade. They want it to work out well for them, and that we do too. We really want it to work for you. I mentioned the low interest financing, and we have a contractor list for your convenience. So if you're considering registering for any of those, we have the same registration form for everyone, just to make it simple. You can find it at rdck.ca/REEP. REEP stands for the Regional Energy Efficiency Program. And then if you're thinking about the ECAP, there's a little checkbox that you can do there. Alternatively, you can also email me, at Thompson@nelson.ca. You got it on there. And I can send you a fillable PDF form. And then if you have more questions after the session, you can always get in touch with me. So if you just want to write that down to save for later. But you can also find our contact information on the website. So all of those are potential options. Just going to go through a couple of frequently asked questions before I get to your questions. So people often ask us whether they have to do the home energy evaluation to be eligible for the rebates. So once again, it's mostly just if you're planning to get the bonuses, although we do recommend it as a way of prioritizing what changes need to be done to your home. And we're happy to talk to you about it if you're not sure whether it's, the best choice for you or not. A question that comes up quite often is that whether the report reflects their personal energy consumption. So no, it does not. That's really important to understand. So it is actually modeled against the average home's energy consumption. Part of that is that it would be really difficult to get that data from a variety of different utility providers. People might not have been living in the same home for a long period of time. And realistically, that would drive up the costs. So it is a modeled simulation. So if you're really on it about keeping your temperature super low and turning off the lights after you leave the room, it's possible that you might be slightly lower than what they estimate it to be. But it is still a useful tool. So if you want to find out how to get the best return on investment for your home, yes, I definitely recommend getting a home energy evaluation. It gives you the numbered recommended changes. It can tell you, where your biggest your leaks are. A lot of people are surprised by the information because it will give you a calculation basically of the size of a hole that is basically cut in your wall, compared to where you're losing energy through all the different potential ceiling or lack of insulation issues that are going on in your home. And I've had some people who have equivalent size holes that are about 4 by 4 feet. So it can sound quite intense, but it also gives you some very clear steps in terms of how you can improve the efficiency in your home. Can you access both the ECAP program or the energy savings kit as well as the subsidized home energy evaluation? Absolutely. If you can do both, better for you. So I'm gonna turn it over to you and Heather and just see if there are any questions. Oh yeah, and I forgot. I gave you a little tip. If you want to find other do-it-yourself products on the BC Hydro site, they have a do-it-yourself and save series. I think the videos are kind of cute and fun, and it can just kind of show you some tips and tricks to do with weather stripping and window film or water saving products. And also if you have questions for us around that, we know some, not every single do-it-yourself project, of course, but as I said, I did do a lot of this in seniors' homes, so I'm happy to talk to you about how to make your shower head stop leaking or something like that. My first example is Gabriella. So Gabriella has owned her home for 25 years and done most of the maintenance herself. She upgraded her windows in 2012 and replaced her attic insulation last year. She wants to take advantage of the double the rebate offer to put in heat pumps, but she's not sure if she needs to do a home energy evaluation since she only wants to do this one change. Does anyone know the answer? Or wanted? I'm not sure how much interaction people are hoping from this. Okay, I will obviously just tell you. So in this case, it makes no sense for Gabriella to just apply for the promo code, get the heat pumps put in, and then apply for the rebate since she's already done a number of the upgrades that she could do herself. And it sounds like she just wants to do this one thing. She's not planning to do anything else in the next year or so. So that's the best option for her. But of course, she could still register for the program to get help with that process, especially for the rebates. So my second example is Sen. So Sen rents an apartment and is looking for ways to save energy without having to spend lots of money as they are living on a pension. Sen is also concerned about having any strangers come into their home as they are older and at a greater risk if they were to contract an illness such as the flu or COVID. So what would be the best option for Sen? I think in that case, you're looking at an energy savings kit. That is something that can be mailed to them. They don't have to have anyone come into their homes. And they can either put those items themselves or choose one of the people that's within their existing bubble to help them and do that installation. Third example is Sherif. So Sherif is a local contractor. He regularly helps people with their home improvement projects and wants to do some renovations on his own home. Doesn't make sense for him to hire someone else to do the work since he is a professional himself. Sherif wants to know if he can still access the rebates for his home upgrades if he completes the work himself. So in this particular case, Sherif could do the work himself because he is a contractor and he's already registered, but it would depend on what upgrades he's planning to do himself and what his actual qualifications are. So for some of the upgrades, you have to have someone who has demonstrated that they have certain qualifications. So for example, Sherif might have passed those qualifications for doing his own installation. So if he's able to do that, he can do the installation himself and then he can provide an invoice for himself. One of the downfalls of the rebate program is that they aren't accessible for just the average person doing the upgrades themselves. So for example, putting in, bats of insulation isn't the hardest thing to do. I know lots of people do it themselves, but the reason why they don't cover it is because they can't guarantee that it has been installed correctly, and therefore will net this energy savings that they're planning to calculate, because all utilities are required to do that. So we don't always have to be building new generating capacity. So that's kind of the cycle going on there. So that is something to keep in mind as well. If you're planning to do the home improvement projects yourself and you're looking at the rebates, you have to factor in that you'll be paying for a contractor. The fourth example I have for you is Lydia. So Lydia lives in a beautiful timber frame home that she and her husband designed. They heat their home with a combination of wood and electricity. Lydia wants to upgrade their attic insulation and their heating system, as those were the top 2 recommendations on her EnerGuide report, but she's unsure whether she's eligible for the rebates due to their use of wood heat. So for someone like Lydia, there is a tool that they can use if they have a BC Hydro account, or if it's in City of Nelson account, then we can talk to them about it, because essentially you need to have your primary heat source as through one of the electricity providers or the natural gas providers to be eligible for the rebates. If they really don't use any electrical heat for most of the year, then unfortunately they won't be able to access any of the rebates except for the wood stove exchange program, or upgrading their wood stove to a more efficient model. So again, another potential downfall, or reason why some people might choose not to do things exactly the way the program suggests, just because they wouldn't be eligible for the rebates in that sense anyways. So just some more food for thought for you. Again, I know this might generate more questions than answers. If you're ever feeling like you're unsure whether you would be eligible or not, please just talk to us. Or if you really don't want to talk to me, then you can go to the Better Homes BC page, look at the rebates. They've got the energy coaching service. Those are people are also very competent and very happy to help you out. So those are the examples I've got for you, and that's pretty much it.